Hello everyone. I'm Anil once again on behalf of E.Academy. I welcome you all in my CIB revision in 30 days. So now we have arrived our new book that is called BFM, and that is the name of the paper is Bank Financial Management. So now we are going to start our new chapter that is called first chapter only, exchange rates and forex business. So before we go for the details, we have to see some terminology, and starting with this, first and foremost, we have to know what is foreign exchange. So, foreign exchange is nothing but conversion of one currency to home currency or vice versa. Conversion of currency from currencies of invoice to home currency and export of the exporter is called foreign exchange. And there is also called one act that is called Foreign Exchange Management Act, and this act was enacted in year 1999, and it replaces the one more act was before that. It's called FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. So FEMA replaced FERA in year 1999. So as per FEMA, how the foreign exchange is defined. All deposits, credits, balance payable in foreign currency, and any draft, traveler's check, letter of credit, bills of exchange, expressed or drawn in Indian currency, payable in any foreign currency, drawn in Indian currency but payable in foreign currency and vice versa. Any instrument payable at the option of the drawer or holder thereof, any other party thereto, either in Indian currency or in foreign currency, or partly, mean mix of this, and partly in others is called foreign exchange. That means if any how the exchange of foreign currency is involved, that we call as a foreign exchange. Now we'll see what is foreign exchange transaction. So foreign exchange transaction is a contract to exchange funds in one currency and to another currency is called the foreign exchange transaction. The rate will be agreed and time will be agreed. Okay. And what is exchange rate? So exchange rate means price, ratio, or value at which the our currency is exchanged to another currency. Like I'll just take one example, hypothetical example. 1 USD equal to 68.20 Indian rupee INR. So this we called as the rate of USD. So 1 USD is equal to 68.20 rupees. This is called rate. Now, who are the participants of the foreign exchange market? Because foreign exchange market is very universal globally, it is accepted. So main participants are our RBI. RBI also called a central bank, commercial banks, and investment fund, other banks, other financial institutes also there, forex brokers also there, and corporations are there, and lastly individual can also participate in the finance in this forex market. Now we'll cover few points regarding the forex market. So forex market are highly dynamic. Dynamic means that on an average exchange rates of major foreign currencies fluctuate, and the time is every 4 seconds. That means rates of major foreign currencies they keep on changing, and in 24 hours they register total change 21,600. That means every 4 seconds the rate keep on changing. For next forex market usually operate from Monday to Friday. So days are fixed that forex market will operate from Monday to Friday, except for Middle East and some Islamic countries, those who also function on Saturday and Sunday with some restriction, and they keep holiday on Friday. Okay. So now bulk of forex markets are OTC. OTC means over the counter. What is the meaning of over the counter? That means most of the business is done either by telephone or internet or other communication. That counter is not required for the exchange of foreign market, means exchange of foreign currency. Okay, now what are the factors which determine the exchange rate? So there are various factors which decide what will be the exchange rate of one currency to another currency. So many factors are there, and each currency of in this world having different rates, means their mutual rates are different, and there are various factors. So you can say number one is the fundamental reason. Okay, basic reason, balance of payment. So balance of payment is nothing but difference between export and import. That also determining factor. That means export and import of that country. Okay, economic growth rate of that country, fiscal policy decided by the government, monetary policy decided by RBI, fiscal policy by government of India, monetary policy RBI in case of India, interest rate, how much interest rate is prevailing in our country, political issue, because political stability and instability does also play a major role. There are technical regions also. So technical region means government can lead to unrealistic value. Sometimes no, what happens, the government also put some control on the foreign business. They can say, okay, you cannot import these things from the China or some other countries. Like in Malaysia, they have restricted the import of oil, edible oil. So these also have some reasons, and it may lead to unrealistic value. Unrealistic value means the rate will change drastically. Okay, free flow of capital from lower interest rate to higher interest rates. It is also very responsible. There's may lower interest rate to higher. If rates are changing, then there will be free flow. Okay, speculative. Some of the people know they are always try to gain the profit. So they keep on changing or some they uh, earn the profit out of the changing rates. Now here some delivery mechanism of how the dealing is done, how this is settled in one or more following ways. So we can say see one by one. One is the ready or cash, means this is the ready on spot. Ready means if today's deal is done, so it will be exchanged today only. Tom Tom is for tomorrow. Tom is for tomorrow. Okay, and spot means next day of tomorrow, means day after tomorrow, and forward is after that. So we can say ready is always 0 day we call, tomorrow is always 0 plus 1, and spot is 0 plus 2 after 2 days. Tomorrow is after 1 day. And if you are dealing today, so your means ready cash means today only. Tomorrow means Tom means tomorrow. One after 1 day, you have to add one. Okay, for a spot, you have to add two from there. Forward means after that. And leaving 2 days, everything is called forward. And forward and spot and forward is also when the actual transfer of currency takes place after the spot. This is called spot and forward. Now we'll see one by one these points. So in details, okay. Settlement of fund takes place on the same day. We have already seen. Tom, settlement of fund takes place on the next working day. But one more point is very important. If settlement day is holiday, any of the two countries, the settlement day will be next working day in both the countries. So holiday is always counted as a holiday, whether it is Tom or spot. And that means for the settlement, this day will not be counted. Similarly, for the spot, settlement of fund takes place on the second working day. And if it is one day's settlement date is holiday, then it will be next day. Okay. Next, forward. So in forward, delivery of fund takes place on the any day after the spot. That means any day after 2 days is called forward. So I'll repeat it again. Cash is always called same day. Cash or ready same day. Tom next day. and spot after 2 days, and forward any day after 2 days, and maybe 3, 4, 5, what was there, that's called forward. And spot and forward rates, on other hand, when the delivery of the currencies is to take place at the date beyond the spot date, okay, it is forward transaction, and rate applied is called the forward rates. Okay, and forward rate, how the forward rates are derived? So forward rates are derived from spot rates only. Okay, and in the spot rates, we have to add premium or subtract the discount. I'll just show you here. Uh, I'll just show you how this is applicable. Yeah. So forward rate is nothing but spot rate, premium, you add premium, or either one of them, either premium or discount. Both will not be there together. So either premium is there or discount. Premium will be added and discount will be subtracted. Okay, if the value of currency is more than being quoted for the spot, means for the spot the rate is less, but for the forward the rate is more, then it's to be premium. And opposite, huh? If the currency is cheaper at the later date than spot, then it will be counted as discount. Okay, and forward and premium discount generally based on the interest rate differential of two countries. So when you're solving the numericals, this premium and discount will be given. Okay, so in a perfect market with no restriction of finance and trade, the interest factor is the basic factor in arriving at the forward rate. Okay, so if there is no restriction, and so the interest factor is the basic factor in arriving the forward rate. Okay, so interest factor will be the basic factor in deciding the premium or discount. So we'll see once again how the spot price are decided. So spot, so forward cost, not a spot. Forward price of a country against another can be worked out with the following factors. Number one is the spot price. I told you forward price always depend on spot price of the currency involved. Interest rate differential. So remember this for the countries. Number third, the term. What is the duration of the contract? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and days also will be there. 15 days. The future period for which the is workout. That is term is future period. Okay, so these three factors are here. Number one, spot. Number two, interest rate differential, and the term means duration of the contract. And how the price of currency is expressed. So price of currency is expressed in two ways. Number one is the direct quote, and number second is the indirect quote. Direct quote means the price is directly quoted, means there is nothing is in between. So I just take example once again. 1 USD, 1 USD equal to 48.10 rupee. Just rupee here, rupees here are written here. So it's called direct quote. And because our home currency is rupees, so we are quoting, okay, 1 USD equal to this many rupees. Understood? And in indirect quote, so we don't quote directly, but in between one currency comes. I'll just show you by example. I'll just show you example. Let's say 1 USD is quoted as 1 USD equal to 48.10 rupees, or you can say INR, and 1 USB equal to 2.11 Great Britain pound. Okay, so just take an example. So that means if we want to go from rupee to pound, we are direct quote is not here. That means USD in between. So it's called indirect. That means you can convert from rupee to USD and then USD to Great Britain pound. So this is called indirect quote. Okay, and if you're getting directly, so we've got direct quote only. So if there is indirect quote is there, so in that case we have to convert uh, foreign currency in Indian rupee. So when dealing in forex market where the rates are a particular currency are not directly available, so the price for state currency is obtained indirectly with the help of cross currency rate mechanism. So I'll just show you how to calculate cross rate. The math is very simple. Okay, it's just like A by B into B by C equal to A by C. Okay, like Great Britain pound to Australian dollar is given, rate is given, and Australian dollar to JPY is given. So how to get JBP with the JPY in? So we have to multiply. You'll get JBP with JBPB is to JPY. So we'll take one numerical here. I'll just show you simple numerical. Okay, Great Britain pound to Australian dollar. The rate is given 1.73449, and Australian dollar to JPY means Japanese yen. It is given 0.8535. Now we have to convert. We require this GBP to JPY. So how to get this? So I'll just tell you, because JBP is the top. So you have to see out of these two rates, which one is having JBP as the top. So this is having JBP as the top. And you have to say which one is having JPY, JPY at the bottom. So you try to JBP at the top and JPY at the bottom. So I can write here is equal to JBP divided by AUD and JPY at the bottom. AUDJPY, and you put the value, you get the answer. Okay. In case what happened? In case if AUGJPY is not given, sometimes what happens, the rate will be given like this: JPY is to AUD. I am just taking one hypothetical. Okay, JPY, but you have to get JPY at the bottom. So what you have to do? You reciprocal it. You reciprocal it, and accordingly value will also be reciprocal. Okay, so now you can put the value 1.73449 into 0.85535. You multiply this, you will get the rate for this. Okay, so with this we have seen how this indirect quote is converted to direct quote. Okay. Sometimes what happens with this, whatever calculation we do is not exactly the same as the actual market price. Okay, so what happened during the market hours at Sunday afternoon to Friday afternoon EST, East Standard Time, all prices are live, and we can check from the market available. Okay, so one market is aware of, they'll give the name. It's called FXCM trading platform. So whatever the rates are there, so we can trade from there. Okay, FXCM's trading station platform. Okay, so there are two types of rates are there. One called fixed and other is floating. And you working in bank, you might have seen a fixed rate and floating rates. Nowadays, all countries, they are taking the floating rates. So since 1973, the world economies have adopted floating exchange rate, because fixed rate is not good for all the countries. If you fix something, then in future what is going to happen, nobody knows. So India also switched to floating rate, since 1993. So India is also adopting this floating rate 1993. Okay. Now coming next, bid and offer rate. So bid means buying rate and offer means selling rate. Very simple. Bid, buying, and offer means selling rate. There is also one term is extensively used, that is called percentage, percent or per mile. Percent means per hundred and per mile means per thousand. And value date, the date on which a payment of fund or an entry to an account becomes actually effective. Actually effective. The entry or value that which become or subjected to interest is called the value date. Okay. In case of TT, the value date is usually the same both centers. If it is TT rate is there, so value date will be same in the center. Okay, so now moving ahead, uh, arbitrage in exchange. So arbitrage consists of simultaneous buying and selling of a commodity in two or more than two markets. Some of the brokers, what they do, they purchase USD here at the same time, same amount of USD they will be selling at the other center. So it's called arbitrage in exchange. Okay, so this happened there if difference in price is there. So this is very helpful in for them to earn the profit. And one more word comes now, valuer compense. This word is very important. Valuer compense. The payment made in the same day so that no gain or loss of interest accrue to either party is called valuer compense, or simply here and there. So if payment is made whenever the exchange is taking place, the transaction has taken place, they have agreed. So if payment is made same day, so that means there is no gain or loss due to change in interest, because if they are going for the next day, interest rate may change. So this is called valuer compense. Okay. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Arbitrage and exchange. So arbitrage is nothing but consist arbitrage consists in simultaneous buying and selling of a commodity in two or more markets to earn the profit. Okay, so there will be difference in price. So what the broker can do, he can purchase here and sell in other market. Okay, at the same time, a transaction conducted between two centers is known as simple or direct arbitrage. Simple two centers. Two centers if it is there, only two centers, it is called simple arbitrage or direct arbitrage. So we can see forex operations are divided into three parts: forex dealer, back office, mid office. So forex dealing room is nothing but the front office. That's like even the bank. Our counter is there, so our counter always face customers. So just forex dealing room is same as our counter. We face the, and whatever requirement of the customer is done, that is also done by the forex dealing room service branch. Okay, now back office, mid office, and back office we'll see the working later on. Back office takes care of processing of deals, means paperwork, processing of deal account reconciliation. It has both supportive as well checking role over the dealers. So means back office means you can assume like our RO. So they are supportive as well as checking role for our dealers. Okay, what is the role of mid office? So mid office deal with the risk management, parameterization of risk, forex dealing operation. Mid office is also supposed to look after the compliance of various guidelines. This point is very important. Various guidelines and instructions, and is an independent function. So that means various guidelines are responsibility of the mid office. Okay, so back office is very supportive, and front office they always face the customer. And one more the working of front office is that you can see here, Yeah, forex dealer has to maintain two positions, है ना, fund position and currency position. So forex dealer has to maintain. So forex dealer maintain two position means fund position like you can see our bank fund position and currency position like currency in our double lock system. So this is the uh, double role of the forex dealer. Okay, and now I repeat once again. Here are the three parts of forex dealer: forex dealer room, forex back office, and mid office. Forex dealer room faces the customer. Back office just like RO, and mid office they are concerned about the policies and guidelines. Okay. Now we'll see what are the risks associated with the dealing operation of forex. So operation risk is there, exchange risk is there, credit risk is there, settlement risk is there, liquidity risk is there, gap risk is there, gap or interest risk is there, rate risk is there, market risk is there, legal risk is there, systemic risk is there, country risk is there, and sovereign risk is there. So we'll see one by one fast. Okay, starting with the operation risk. So operation risk is rising on account of human errors, technical fault, infrastructure breakdown, faulty system, and procedures or lack of internal control. So in our bank also we face this type of operation risk. Human error. Something posting is being done by a clerk and we commit the mistakes. We instead of posting 1,000 rupees, we post 1 lakh rupees. So these are okay. Technical fault are there. Infrastructure breakdown is there. Faulty system is there. Procedural like internal control is there. So this can be avoided. Next, exchange risk is the most common and obvious risk in foreign exchange. Exchange risk. Next is exchange risk, the most common and obvious risk in foreign exchange dealing operation and arise mainly on account of fluctuation in exchange rates. This due to the exchange rates and when mismatch occur in asset liability and receivable payment. So this is due to the exchange risk. Exchange rates keep on changing because the forex market is very global market. Okay, and credit risk arise due to inability. The same as our loan and procedure. Same credit risk arise due to inability, unwilling of the counterpart to meet the obligation at maturity of the underlying transaction. Okay, and credit risk is also classified in three categories. Sorry, two categories: pre-settlement risk and post-settlement risk. Pre-settlement means before the settlement and after settlement. Okay. So pre-settlement risk is the risk of failure of the counterparty before maturity of the contract, thereby exposing the other party to cover the transaction at the ongoing market rate. So I'll repeat once again here. Pre-settlement risk is the risk of failure of the counterparty before maturity of the contract is called pre-settlement risk. Whereas settlement risk or post-settlement risk is the failure of the counterparty during the course of the settlement. Before the maturity, due to the time zone differences between the two currencies to be exchanged, because sometimes the time zone difference is there. India time zone is something different, like we are following GMT plus 5.30 hours. So this is the time zone difference is there. So due to the settlement risk may be there. Okay. And next is the liquidity risk. So liquidity risk is the potentiality or liability to drain from bank at a faster rate than asset. So what happens sometimes? No, bank also runs out of the fund. So this mismatch may arise. So this will become the liquidity. Main is the gap risk and interest risk. So gap risk or interest risk are the risk arising out of the adverse movement of implied interest rate or actual interest rate differential. Sometimes what happens, the interest rate keep on changing very fast or gap become very very huge, so that it's very difficult. Huh? So this is interest rate risk may rise. Okay, and next is the market risk. So this rise due to adverse movement of market variable when the players are unable to exit the position very quickly, because market now forex market keep on changing है ना, due to global conditions. So we are unable to exit from the position, that is called market risk. And legal risk is rising on account of non-enforceability of the contract against a counterparty. है ना? If something legal dispute has happened and we are not able to enforce our contract, है ना? That means we cannot go to court and we can enforce, okay, this was the contract between us. So this is called legal risk. And systemic risk is the possibility of major bank failing and resultant losses to counterparty, reverberating in banking crisis. That means it is reverberating effect is there. So systematic risk is that if you one bank is failing, it will result in the failing of the other bank, and other bank uh, will have reverberating effect. Means then third bank will also fail. Then third bank will make it fourth bank will fail. So in this way, there will be chain of failing of banking system. So this is called systemic risk. Now next is the country risk. It is the risk in which the uh, counterparty situated in different country unable to perform its part of contractual obligation its willingness to do despite its willingness to do due to local government regulations, okay, and political and economic instability of the country. Understood? So that means customer maybe, see, this is the what is difference between now next risk is a sovereign risk. Okay, so there is a little difference between sovereign risk. So country risk, like a customer may be inside that country, okay, and customer is willing to pay, but due to local government conditions or some new regulations have come, or due to some change in political condition and economic instability is there, then customer is not able to meet the obligation. That will call the country risk, where the sovereign is the country as a whole. Okay, like if you are having some contract with the Bangladesh, and Bangladesh country itself, whole country as a whole, so that will call the sovereign risk, where the country risk is the customer inside the country, where the sovereign is the country as a whole. Okay, it's called the sovereign risk. So this is difference between country risk and sovereign risk. So there are some dealers also who do the foreign exchange transaction. So RBI has prescribed guidance on authorized dealers and who have been permitted to do that these foreign exchange transactions. Okay, okay. So here are some names are given. RBI has also issued money changer license to large number of establishment firm, companies, hotels, shops who deals in foreign transactions. Okay, so here are some categories given here. You can see full-fledged money changer. Full-fledged money changer is called FFMC. Full-fledged money changer is called FFMC. And second category is restricted money changer. So full-fledged money changer and restricted money changer. So what is full-fledged money changer? Entities authorized to buy and sell foreign currency notes, coin and traveler check. Okay. Second category, restricted money changer, RMCs, entities authorized to buy foreign currencies. Okay. But with effect from year 2005, the categories of dealers, authorized dealers, that means who have been authorized, they have put in three categories. Okay, so three categories are like category 1, category 2 and category 3. Okay, so category 1 AD means authorized dealer, category 1 banks, financial institution, other entities allowed to handle all type of foreign forex transactions. Okay, all type of category one, है ना? Very big. Number two, only money changer is FFMC, है ना? FFMC, है ना? Full fledged money changer. So they are money changer. Category two is only money changer. Okay, and category three RMC means restricted money changer. So now will talk about only 81, 82, and 83. We'll not say FFMC, RMC. So category 1, 81. Normally we say 81, 82, 83 like this. Okay. And there is also one association that was established in 1958, which also regulate. But we'll see what is the Foreign Exchange Dealers Association. This is a dealer. Keep in mind, Dealers Association in India, established in 1958, who also prescribed guidelines, rules for the game for the market operation. Merchant rates, quotations, delivery dates, holiday, interest on default, handling of export, import bill, transit period, crystallization of bills, and other related issue. So there is also FEDI, you know. So we call it normally FEDI. It is in India. So Foreign Exchange Dealers Association of India. So they do this is this is only association. So all rules are not bounding, but all are following the rules and guidelines made by the association. Okay. Now next, export. We'll see how this happening. Export bills drawn in foreign currencies, purchased, discounted, negotiated, must be crystallized into rupee liability. The same would be done at TT selling rate. We'll see numerical also on the export bill. Okay, crystallization period can vary from bank to bank. For export bill, generally 30 days are there, 30th day. Customers to customer, but cannot exceed 60 days anyhow. Okay, site bill drawn under LC would be crystallized on the 10th day after due date of receipt if it is not paid. And forward contracts must be for the definite amount with specified delivery dates. Okay, that in forward contract the amount must be fixed and delivery date must be fixed. All contracts which have matured and have not picked up shall be automatically cancelled on 7th day working day after maturity date. And if it is cancelled, opposite rate will be applied. Okay, so opposite TT rates means if selling was there, when it is cancelled, purchase rate will be applied. If buying was there, if it is cancelled, selling rate will be applied. Okay, that means if you are cancelling purchase contract or buying contract, you will apply the sale rate. And if you are cancelling selling rate, then you will apply purchase contract. And all currencies to be quoted in unit, except Japanese, Indonesian rupiah, Kenya saying they are quoted in 100 units of foreign currencies because the value of these currencies is very less. So they are always quoted at 100. Now we have arrived at the numerical. We see the numericals one by one. It's very simple numericals are here. Here the first numerical I have taken from your book only. So is the first and a very simple inflow of USD. And how many zeros are here? 1 to the 1 million. Okay, 1 million by TT for credit to your customer, your exporter account being advance payment for the export. What rate will you quote to the customer? So here two rates are given. Keep in mind, for buying rate we apply this lowest. Keep in mind, buy and this is selling. When we sell, we quote as a big amount, when you buy, we apply the lower amount. Correct? So exporter, keep in mind, it is exporter. So how will you remember this? Exporter always sell the commodity. An exporter always sell the commodity. That means he will be earning the foreign currency. And whatever foreign currency is earning, that he will be depositing to your bank. Okay. So all numericals will be solving at the bank point of view only. So he'll be depositing in your bank. That means you will be buying the foreign currency. Because foreign currency is coming to your bank. So you can remember also export bill. Export bill. Likewise, you can remember export bill always buying and import bill always selling. E comes first, so B comes first. I comes last, so selling. S come last. So you can match like this. So that's not very confusion. That's why TT buying rate will be applying, that is 68.09. So it's a very easy question. So here's the next question. The retirement import bill. Now import bill is here. No? Before that we did export bill. Now import bill is here. So import bill for GBP, Great Britain pound, 1 lakh by TT margin. Margin is 0.20. Ignore cash, discount or premium. Is premium and discount is not given here. Okay. Now the rates are given here: GBP to USD and USD to INR. Okay. So what rate you will apply? So import bill has come. Now you have to convert GBP to INR. Direct quote is not given, so we are planning to get here. I just write here GBP to INR. Okay, now GBP at the must be at the top, so we'll take, I write the formula first, then we'll put the value. So GBP USD is given, so I wrote here because GBP at the top. Now see in second one, INR at the bottom, already in the bottom. So simply you write USD and INR, and you can cross check also. Second currency which is common to both, it should be opposite. If like USD is common here, so one USD must be at the numerator, other must be at the denominator, because it must cancel. Okay, now put the value. GBP to USD, how much value they have given. Now what rate you will have, because it's import bill. So I told import bill always has selling rate will be applied. Okay, and selling rate is always at the higher part, 85. So we'll take 1.2185, and I am applying this rate now, into here also, selling rate is always higher, 68.14. Now if you multiply, you can multiply with the help of calculator. Sorry, it is here 15 will come, not 14, because 14 is only for the buy. Okay, now if you multiply, you will get 83.0408. And you can approximate up to 4 digit we are taking, because given as the 4 digit. Now they are telling margin 0.2%. Now you take the margin of this. So you can take margin of this 0.20% of this. So we'll get value 0.1660. Now if you add them, because margin, and we are selling, keep in mind, selling means margin always will be added. We are selling, so in selling margin will be added, while in buying margin will be subtracted. So if you add, your answer will be 83. You add both, 83.02070. So this is the answer. You can round up also. I have rounded off directly. So no, this is your answer. So actually you get 83.2068. So 2068 you can round up to 2070. Okay, so in this way we can calculate the cross currency rate also. Now here the next example. Uh, on 15 September, a customer requests for booking for a forward contract for export bill. Keep in mind, okay, for export bill. So what now when export bill is there, buying will be applied now. So USD, how much is there? 1,50,000. Okay, to be realized in the month of December. What rate they have given? USD INR direct quote is given here. 68.45 and 50. Forward premium is as under. Okay, premium they have given. October, November, December, and margin is also given. So because we are buying here, so we'll do one by one. We'll see one by one. Okay. So they are asking. Okay, so we have to find out rate. What rate you will apply? Okay. So because now export bill means buying. Export bill means buying. So buying rate will be 68.45. Now we have come to conclusion that we'll be applying 68.45. Not selling. Selling rate is 68.50. So we'll not apply 68.50. Okay. So because it is export bill always buying rate, import bill always selling rate. Okay. Now to be realized in the month of December. Now we don't know whether he's going to apply in the 1st December or 30th December. So to be benefits side will take only up to the November. So we will think, okay, he'll coming and applying at the 1st December. So we cannot give the premium of December because sometimes he may come in the 1st offer. So we cannot give the premium of the whole month. So we'll take premium up to the November. Okay, but had it been the selling, okay, then we apply for the entire December because we'll take, okay, he's coming on the 30th December. So that means we try to apply our lower rate because when we are buying, we always try to apply and we assume that customer is coming on the 1st December. And when we are selling, we'll assume that, okay, the customer may come on the 30th December also or 31st December, the last day also. So what premium we are going to apply? Premium we are going to apply for the month of November only. Okay. Some of one more very important point. Some of the people what they do, they add this premium. Okay, what they think, okay, this is the premium of October, this is the premium of November, this is the premium of December. Okay. So if you are applying for the number, they'll be adding, okay, 18 plus 30, you are getting 48. No, not like this. Whatever premium is given, that is starting from the September up to the November, it is given premium. Okay. And if you are thinking about October, that means in September to whatever deal days, 15 September deal date is there. So up to October. And if you talk about the November, that means September to November premium is given. If you talk about the December, September to December, the premium is given. So we'll think, okay, customer may come on 1st December. So we'll apply the premium of only November. That means what is the buying premium? So 0.30. So what is the rate is coming? 68.75. Okay, this rate is coming. Next, they have given margin also. Yeah. So when in buying and they have given per USD. Okay, not percentage, per USD. So while buying means we'll purchase cheaper. So margin will be subtracted. So 0.05 will be subtracted. So what is the answer is coming? 68.70 rate will be quoted. Okay. Okay. Now next numerical is on 1st June 2016. A customer requests a book forward contract for retirement of import bill. Now very important. So import bill means is selling. Okay, for USD $1 lakh due for payment on 15 September. So now see, he's coming on 1st June and he is requesting on 15 September. What rates are given here? Okay, spot rate is given 68.27, 68.29. So because selling is there, so selling is always at the higher rate. Okay, so 68.29 will take as the selling price. Okay, now see the forward premium they have given for June, they have given July, they have given August, they have given September, they have given, and August to September, 15 September also given. Okay, because now rate they have given August to September. Okay, that means how we'll be dealing. First, we'll decide the rate for how what rate they are going to apply. So selling rate, है ना? What is selling rate here? Selling rate here 68.29. Okay, so first take your 68.29. Now we'll talk about the premium. So because payment is on 15 September, the rate is given August to 15. है ना? If it is not given, directly we have taken for the complete September. Because assuming that because date is fixed. If date is also not given, rate is also will take complete September. But because they have given the date, so how we'll take up to August and 15 days here. Okay, we'll take up to August, not September. We'll not take September because August to 15 complete date is given. So what is premium for August? For selling, है ना? For selling it is how much they given? 34. 34 means 0 point. So this is for the spot for August. Spot August. I will dot in short. Then August to September. August to September, how much they have given? 7. 0.07. So we are taking selling only. Huh? Last one. So now you can add. It's come 41, 41 and 29. You will get 0.70 and 68. So this is our total result. But margin is also there. And in selling, margin is always added. Keep in mind. In buying, margin is always subtracted. Where in selling, margin is always added. So now add margin. Add margin always after making total. No, add margin 0.20%. Okay, if you take margin here, add. So it will come 0.14 approximately. And now you can add here. So you'll get the final answer like 68.84. So this rate will be quoted. Means 1 USD will be this many rupees. So 1 USD conversion will be rated as this rate of Indian rupee will be quoted because it's a import or export. You can see once again because we are applying selling, so it is import bill. Okay, reconfirm once again, it is import bill. Okay, import bill only. So moving ahead now, next question is the last question of the chapter. After this, we finish chapter also. Okay. Messrs ABC wants to remit JPY. He is having the Japanese yen 100 million by TT value spot as payment of import invoice. What rates are given? USD INR 68. Okay. USD JPY. So direct quote is not given. That means JPY to INR direct quote is not given. Margin is given. And one more thing you can keep on, it is import invoice. So import invoice is always selling rate. Okay, calculate rate to be quoted. Now that means we have to convert JPY to INR. So write the formula JPY to INR. JPY to INR. Okay, it will be JPY. What is common currency? It is USD. Okay, so JPY is coming first, USD is coming here. Okay, again USD will go at the top because it's common currency, and INR will come at the bottom. Likewise, whatever common currency JPY, USD and USD. Now see what values they have given here. I'll put here JPY to USD. Where JPY to USD? USD to INR. Yeah, USD to INR given value. Now see. Okay, so put here USD to INR, this value. So I'll put here 68.26. Double zero. No, because in import is there, so applying selling rate. Okay. Now USD to JPY. Rate is given USD to JPY, but we are having JPY to USD. It will be reciprocal. So reciprocal it means now it will come at the bottom, not at the top. So it will come at the bottom is 116.60. Here also selling rate. Now if you calculate with the help of calculator, I'm also using here calculator. So what you will get here, you will get 0.58592. Okay, you can round up also 0.5859. So now 5859. Now margin is there. How much margin is there? 0.15. Now margin is 0.15%. So take percent of this, you will get 0.0879. You add them. Why margin we are adding? Because it is selling. If it is buying, then we will subtract. So now we add how much you are getting. So here JPY always quoted as 100. So means per 100 you have to take. Per 100. So because JPY to INR quote is for 1, so 100 JPY. Because we follow this pattern, 100 JPY divided by INR. How much you will get? So multiply with the 100. So you will get 58.5920. I'll take 4 digit. Then take 0.15%. So we'll get percent as, if you calculate here 0.15%, you get 0.0879. Now we add all this. So we get 997,658. So 58.6799. So you can round off here. So get 58.68. So this rate is to be quoted for this. So if you want to calculate the value also, you can multiply with amount. Amount is given here. JPY 100 million. Keep in mind the rate is for 100 JPY. Okay. So divide by 100, then multiply, because rate is for 100 JPY. Our answer is coming here. So for 100 JPY is 58. For 100 million, you divide by 100, then multiply with this. So we'll get the amount. Okay. So with this, we finish our class. Stay tuned with me. So we very soon will upload our next video on BFM only. Okay. Thank you very much. Anna, you may subscribe my channel so that you can get a video as soon as it is uploaded. You can help to your friends also. They can take the benefit of this type video. Okay. Thank you very much. Enjoy.